This is a NEEWER gimbal head, typically for monopod use. I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you about $80. They haven't paid me for my review, so my opinion remains my own. Okay, so in the packaging, you get the actual gimbal head itself, along with a little hex key and the instruction booklet. This is a NEEWER monopod gimbal. It's the GM39. So it has a saddle Arca plate with about 30 millimeters of adjustability, plus this 1/4x20 screw can go all the way across it as well. It's got a 3/8 screw on the bottom for a monopod, or you could clamp it in an Arca tripod adapter for a quick release plate. These grooves will fit that. So if you have this clamped in a tripod that can't rotate, you can unlock the panorama mode here and turn it. Otherwise, you can simply rotate your monopod. The gimbal lock here undoes this ball, allows you to go from a horizontal aspect ratio to a vertical aspect ratio very quickly. There's also some rotation here, and you can go all the way around there and rotate up here if you'd like, but you can't like shift that way. So it's mostly gimbaling 90 degrees here. So the construction here is almost entirely aluminum. The only place I've found that a magnet sticks to this thing at all is somewhere inside of this locking knob. There's something that's attracting the magnet in there, but everything else is all aluminum. Or very high quality stainless that's not really attracted to that magnet at all. All right, total weight of the unit, 306 grams. That's 10.8 ounces. So with a monopod, this entire setup can be, 25 ounces, 700 grams. All right, specifications say this is a 13-pound or 6-kilogram load, and playing around with it, I believe that. This thing's pretty burly. I don't think you're going to have any problems with 13 pounds on this guy. So it's not strictly required that you use the saddle with this guy. For example, I have this one that I already have pretty well balanced here. So you can clamp in this guy to any Arca quick release plate. All right, so when you release this guy, you can easily go horizontal to vertical. If you're here in vertical, you can easily go up and down and then rotate the monopod that way. So that's nice and easy to get all over the place. Now, if you're in horizontal setup, even if this is loose, you can rotate, but you can't really go up and down other than tilting the monopod unless this guy is shifted that way. So if you put it in that orientation, then you can basically move it around pretty much like a ball head. But you have to be careful that if you turn this guy and then you try to go up, it locks. So it's not a ball head, it's a gimbal, and it's mostly for going horizontal to vertical aspect ratio when you're moving around. But if you're mostly on the plane, this would be just fine. For birding, you probably are going to want to make sure you're like that if you need to go up real fast. Now it has the panorama lock here. You can take that off and do panorama spinning real fast. Realistically, I think it's just as easy to spin the monopod as it is to panorama here. So I think the only time you'd be using the panorama lock is if this guy was held in an Arca plate adapter on a tripod. So if you had it on a tripod, something you couldn't turn, then you might loosen this up and be able to pan. So it's nice that it has the panorama as a lockable, unlockable function. I think, if you have this thing on a tripod, you might just go with a ball head or a fluid head. But this is kind of nice and light, and it's really designed for monopod use, I think. It's the main thing here is this flip, quick switch between horizontal and vertical aspect ratio. I think that's kind of the key there. It's really for sporting events, water skiing, boating, race cars, where most of your action is left-right, and maybe just a little bit of up and down. And if you need to fit it back in the box, you want these two small knobs facing in the same direction, big knob up high, and then you can just put it back in either in that orientation or in that orientation. All right, so this is a premium piece of gear. It commands a premium price. Do you need it? And I think if you're using a tripod, for the most part, the answer is no. I mean, if you're switching between horizontal and vertical aspect ratios all the time, you need something to do that. And this certainly does that really well. But it really, I think, is designed for monopod use. There's fluid heads and ball heads out there, so you want to think about, what do I need? Do I need a fluid head? Do I need a ball head? Do I need a gimbal like this? So I think, the fluid head and the ball head are probably something you might buy before this in most cases, unless you're doing a lot of sports photography. And in that case, this might be exactly the first thing you need to buy.